But let me ask this question. If a local school district wanted to have you consider, or they'd be willing to consider, a Rocketship charter in their district, would you be willing to sit down with them and go through that process and maybe place one of those schools in their district at this point?
Preston Smith, CAO. Absolutely.
So, hypothetically, if one of the districts approached you after this meeting and said, you know, we're willing to sit down and talk with you, and you went through the process and they approved one of your charters, you'd be willing to take away one of the 20 that we're talking about here and put that in the local district instead?
If we had the discussion with the district and came to the conclusion that it was in the interest to have a local neighborhood school, a school that was focused immediately on that community, and there was need and the district was interested in that, yes, we would be willing to engage in that.
And they approved it?
Yes, and they approved it.
And
yes.
then you would
absolutely
take away and, okay. So basically what we're saying is we are providing the local school districts, if they want to get involved and they want to have this within their jurisdiction and they want to collaborate with you, there still is opportunity to do that.
Absolutely, and we're actively currently pursuing such methods with districts right now.
Okay, all right.
Pam Parker, I'm president of the Santa Clara County School Boards Association. At this time, I would like to ask any other school board members who would like to stand with me to please join me up front. I have a letter that I would like to read and then present to you, and I'd like to ask that I have time to finish the whole letter since I am representing all 32 school districts.
Yes, can we not time this comment?
I'm sorry. Time for you?
Yes, I'd like to.
Can we not time it and give her the privilege to finish her statement?
We could.
I have a letter that I'd like to read, and I
Yes,
just like to.
it's
I
on
don't know
time.
exactly how long it's going to take.
On time.
Okay, thank you. All right. Dear President DeSalvo and members of the board, as president, I have to figure out how to do this so I can see it and get my mouth up to the microphone. As the president of the Santa Clara County School Boards Association, I am writing on behalf of our executive board and the 32 boards which we represent. As school board members, we are steadfast in our desire to provide the best possible education outcomes for the students in our communities. As colleagues, we do believe that our board experience gives us insight into the complexities and challenges of educating the students of our communities. I am expressing our concerns about the consideration of approving up to an additional 20 Rocketship charters all at one time. Specifically, we are asking you to delay the approval of the 20 petitions before you in order to prepare for a slower rollout, to develop appropriate oversight mechanisms, and a method for measuring success. This request is focused on 4 main points of concern for school board members across Santa Clara County: Rocketship's ability to scale up, capacity issues related to oversight, issues related to the appropriate chartering agent for charters in our county, and the student communities charters are aiming to serve. First, let me state that the student achievement outcomes that Rocketship Education has been able to accomplish to date are admirable. We commend their choice to target their efforts toward low-income, underperforming students. We support the model of longer school days, after-school tutoring, and use of technology, etc. We admire Rocketship's ability to garner additional foundation and business funding to support their schools, although we can't pass up the opportunity to point out that private donations are no substitute for adequate funding for public schools. Our state should hear that. We applaud the positive academic outcomes for students. With that said, we are extremely concerned, however, that you would consider approving 20 additional charter schools all at once.
Pam, you are not being recorded very well. You might need to put it back and just get closer.
Okay. With that said, we are extremely concerned, however, that you would consider approving 20 additional charter schools all at once. The COE has already granted Rocketship 8 county-wide charters. We believe it would be far more prudent to review Rocketship's ability to scale these initial 8 before you grant an additional 20. We advocate a steady, measured approach with strong oversight and a verification of continued positive outcomes for students. We urge you to incrementally approve a limited number at a time rather than 20 all at once. We have grave concerns about the organization's ability to scale that model up to almost 30 schools. In his own words, Preston Smith admitted, quote, "It used to be myself and lead teachers could run around and coach people. It was kind of like all in my head. We have to protect that culture and yet allow it to evolve," unquote. I would note that Sacramento County has taken a much more measured approach on a related multiple charter request. Not only do we believe that Rocketship will face a tremendous challenge to scale up to 20 schools at once, local districts will face significant impacts in scaling down. Given the current budget situation and the number of teachers already laid off, significant numbers of charters concentrated in one area will compound an already impacted district's ability to keep their new, young, and energetic teachers. If Rocketship is unsuccessful, districts will need to scale back up. A thoughtful, measured approach has a better chance of success for both charters and local districts. Additionally, we have grave concerns regarding adequate budget and staff allocated to oversight. The Santa Clara County Office of Education currently has oversight of 17 charter schools. With the approval of up to 20 more charters, the COE will have more than doubled its oversight responsibilities. With all of the other important responsibilities of the County Office of Education, can you assure oversight of charters that you place anywhere in our county? Thirdly, we feel very strongly that charter school applications should first be reviewed and either granted or denied by the districts where the schools will be located. Provide local boards the opportunity to choose whether or not to invite charters into their community. Local school boards are elected by their local communities and are accountable to their local residents and voters. Local school boards and district administrators have an intimate knowledge of their local communities and the needs of their students. They focus on offering specific programs and on student outcomes to guarantee that the students will be successful. Your approach circumvents even the possibility that local districts can work with charters. Finally, per your own guidelines, number 3, quote, "The charter school has provided reasonable justification for why it could not be established by petition to a school district," unquote. Rocketship specifically referenced number 3A, quote, "The charter school has demonstrated that an admissions policy giving preference to students from one district over another, pursuant to Education Code Section 47605 D2B, will undermine the charter school's ability to serve the targeted pupil population. In parentheses, e.g., the charter school offers a highly specialized program for which insufficient numbers of targeted students reside within a single district," unquote. The justification presented by Rocketship does not address their inability to get enough students from one district as a basis for being a county charter. Instead, they say the problem is a county-wide problem and they need to be able to address it county-wide. This is not the intent of Ed Code or your own guidelines. It sets a divisive precedence for all petitioners to bypass local districts and come directly to the county board with a petition for a county charter based on the same justification. This undermines the intent of the charter law and creates unnecessary divisiveness between local districts and charter schools. As president of the Santa Clara County School Boards Association, I'm asking you tonight to delay the approval of the 20 petitions before you in order to prepare for a slower rollout, to develop appropriate oversight mechanisms, and a method for measuring success. We believe that a methodically measured approach is critical to a successful scale-up and replication of evidence-based school success. Additionally, we urge you to direct Rocketship to first apply to local districts as a chartering agency thereby taking the opportunity to build the strongest ties possible within our community. Thank you.
Thank you, President Parker.